Shurtleff. I tie for Semperfly and Moonlit and Nirvana, Jay Stockard, and Dragontail, Tenkara, and a few others. Today I was going to try to do one of these guys right here. This is a CDC Blue Wing Olive. I'm calling it my Comparachute because it's kind of a cross between a Comparadun and a parachute. I'm going to be using a split thread technique in CDC with CDL. And okay, I'll just get started. So what I put in the vise is Moonlit Fly Fishing. It's an ML052.
What size?
This is a 14. I tie them smaller, quite a bit smaller, but for demonstration today, I'm just going to do a 14. So, and the thread I'm using is Semperfly's Nano Silk. It's in 12/0 in brown. Let's see if you can see. There we go. There it is. So I'm just going to start this about right here, and the reason why I'm starting right there is because that's about where I'm going to want to end my body and start my wing. So I'm going to tie in the tail first. I'm going to just bring my thread down right there about where the barb would be if there was a barb on it. And then I'm using CDL for the tail, which is Coq de Leon. I just plucked a few feathers from my capes at home, so anyway, this is the Coq de Leon, and this is dark Pardo if you guys are wanting to do it. So I don't need very many feathers or very many fibers, just a few, maybe like half a dozen, 6 or so. And I'm so I've taken this. The feather comes like this, and what I'm doing is I'm going to straighten out these barbs 90 degrees from the stem, and what that does is it lines up the tips. And then when the tips are aligned, then you can just pull them straight off. So right there. Now for the tail length, I'm going to go the length of the hook, or close to it. They can be a little bit longer and be fine, but not too much longer. So I've come over 3 turns, and then I'm going to bring my nail underneath the back of the hook and kind of splay that a little bit. Then I'm going to come around 1 turn underneath that to lock in that splay. So that way those tail fibers are splayed out nicely. And then I'm going to remove the excess, but I'm going to remove it to the point where I started my thread at. And the reason for that is I want a nice smooth underbody. And then I bring my thread back to where the tail starts. Not right next to it, but pretty close to it. Now for the body, I'm just going to use a single CDC feather, and it's not going to matter. You can tie this in any color that you want to, Adams, gray, bluing olive color, any color you want. This one I'm just going to be using this what is it? Where is it? There it is. An olive. And just a single feather. So I'm just taking a single CDC feather out of here. And what I'm going to be doing is wrapping the feather around the hook. So I start this right back here with a single turn, and I'm going to go 2 turns and then pull this back to just the tip, about right to there. And then I'm going to come over those butt ends and park my thread about right there. Now I'm just going to take my hackle pliers to the end of that and straighten it up. It looks kind of like an unruly mess right now, but that's fine. So that's straight off the hook. I'm not spinning it, I'm not twisting it or anything yet. So, and then I'm going to come out right up top, and I'm going to give it a half twist clockwise, then come around and then one more clockwise turn, and then a clockwise turn, and then a clockwise turn. And I'm turning this as I'm working my way up. And what's happening is the stem is smaller in diameter up front than it is towards the back, and so by doing this, I'm putting a natural taper in the body. And I'm just going to work my way up to where my thread is. All right, right there, and then I'm just going to tie it off. So 1 turn to hold it, 1 turn behind, 2 turns behind, couple turns in front, and that's it. I'm going to come in with my scissors and trim the top. Now it looks like a mess right here, but I'm going to come through and trim these fibers down. Alright, so there we go. There we have our body. Now I'm going to come back just a little bit, and I'm in position for the wing. Now for the wing, what I'm going to use is a Semperfli's polyarn. You can use whatever color you want to. In fact, you can use CDC if you want to. I have brightly colored. You could use brightly colored CDC for cider. But to maintain the wing, I'm gonna use this gray color. Because bluing olives have kind of a grayish, kind of a grayish color wing. So straight from the hank, I'm just going to take a piece about 2 inches long, but I don't want to use this whole piece. So what I'm going to do is take out about roughly a quarter of what's here. So, and I'm going to measure that up, and that's a little bit thicker than I want still. I want to go more sparse than thick for this part, because what essentially I'm going to be doing is doubling the wing over. So whatever you have here is going to be doubled over for the finished wing. That's about right there. So you can see about how much I have right there, and it's not very much. It's pretty wispy. And so what I'm going to do is a tie-in technique, and how I do that is I'm actually going to put this over the thread like this, and just hold it there with my fingers. and then come over the top and grab both wings. So I've got the wing like this, and then I can position it just about anywhere I want to on the hook. So that's one turn, two turns, and I'm putting a little bit of pressure down right there on the bottom, and then I'm going to come in front and behind, and then in front and then behind the wing again, and then I'm going to come up and make two turns around the base to post it, but I don't want to come up and post it like a parachute. And then one turn in front just to hold it, and there's my wing. If you were going to tie a parachute and use a hackle, you just continue up the post here and post it, and then tie in your hackle, and then wrap your hackle. So for what I wanted to demonstrate for you guys today is the what's called a composite loop, and I'm going to be using two different colors of CDC in a single loop. I don't know if you guys have much experience with loops, but so how I'm going to be doing it is with the Petit magic tool and the clip. So, and what I'm going to be using is a slate gray, because mayflies typically have a slightly darker thorax than they do an abdomen, if you look at them. So what I'm going to be using is a dark gray or a slate gray CDC, and a single feather from this color, and then I'm just going to set it on top of the clip, and then choose a different color, which we'll go with this dark green, dark olive. And once again, I'm going to stand these fibers up 90 degrees from the stem, and then lay that directly on top of the first CDC feather. So I've got both feathers like this. Yes, like that. Now I'm going to come through and press it into the clip, in the table clip, and you hold the back of the stems, and then just straight down into the clip like this. So the table clips like this. Now I'm going to come back and remove the back piece, and then with this clip I'm going to come through and I'm going to collect all those fibers. So essentially what I did is folded both feathers on top of each other, and then I'm going to come through with my other scissors and just make a straight cut to get rid of the stems. So basically, so I have this. Now to do the split thread, what I'm going to do is expose a section of the thread, and then I'm going to give it a counterclockwise spin while I'm taking my finger and I'm going to kind of go along with my nail and flatten the thread. And I'm doing this so that I can split it with my bodkin. So I've got the thread split, and then I'm just keeping my finger in there until I can get the clip in. Then I'm just going to allow that, or put that up into the clip. And I'm going to get those pretty close to the, I don't know if you can see that, but that's pretty close to the end. And then I'm going to pinch the thread and then give my bobbin a clockwise spin. So I went counterclockwise to flatten it out, and now we're going to cord it back up with a clockwise spin. And then I'm just going to kind of release that in controlled spin to allow it to, essentially what I've done is created a hackle out of 2 CDC feathers. And now that I've got it corded up, I'm going to take my thread again, and I'm going to bring some more thread out of my bobbin, and then come back down here to my bobbin. And with my nail and finger, I'm going to bring those twists up to the end, and then I'm pinching the thread back here at the base of the CDC, and then I'm going to bring my bobbin back up to working distance and put a 90-degree turn in the bobbin, and that'll keep it from unwinding. And now I'm just going to come through, and I'm going to come through, I'm going to go behind a couple times, behind the wing, in front of the wing a couple times, back behind the wing, and then I'm going to pull up on these fibers and come in front of the wing, in front of the wing, and in front of the wing until I'm all out. And then I'm going to create a small head right at the eye of the hook. And then I'm going to allow my thread to untwist a little bit, so I put a little bit of a counterclockwise turn in it. And that's just so that it won't want to twist up on me. So now we're essentially done. I'm going to whip finish. I don't use a whip finisher, I always do it by hand, so I'm going to put in 3 or 4 turns. And then I'll do 2 whip finishes. Okay. And then remove my thread. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the vise a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of hold the wing and pull some of those fibers that I may have trapped down. Because what I'm trying to do with the CDC is create the illusion of legs. Like this, and some of those fibers are a little long, so you can cut them if you want, or just pinch them.
Speaking of hungry.
Yeah. So there we go, and then I'm going to rotate my vise again, and then I'm going to come straight under, and any fiber that's been trapped underneath, I'm just going to clip it flat, straight flat underneath. Now to trim the wing, I kind of eyeball this, but I'm going to come up, and with a rotation, I'm going to come up and then clip down in one swoop. Like that. And then I'm just going to come through and kind of clean this up a little bit. Make the wing look more like a mayfly wing. This is probably not necessary. The fish probably aren't going to care. But I care. Oh. There we go. I'm just going to come through and kind of clean up some of those wild and crazy CDC fibers. All right, there it is.
Beautiful. Yeah. You use shake on that, right?
What's that?
For dry fly, you're using shake on
Oh yeah, dry shake. I've got I think it's loon. I'm not really sure what it is, but it is a dry shake. So
put the whole fly in the shake?
Yep, put the whole fly in there and just shake the crap out of it. And
how durable is CDC against the fish teeth?
well, about as durable as any dry fly, really. I mean, any delicate dry fly, you're not going to get very many fish. They're good for about 4 or 5 at least, and before they're trashed.
Right.
Well, it depends, and it depends on the hook too. If it's barbless, it usually comes out a lot nicer. You don't have to get your forceps on it. So I'm gonna do the same fly, same hook, but different colors.
Perfect. It's gonna be the same fly. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do the same fly and the same hook, and I'm gonna do in different colors this time, so you guys can see some of the variants that you can make with it.
Nice.
So for the tail, once again, I'm going to use the Coq de Leon. And for the fiber amount, probably 6 to 8 strands is all. That many.
It's okay to say that.
I'll do this one in Adam's color. So I'm going to use some light done CDC for the body. That's so I'm giving that half a clockwise turn every wrap. Now I'll come through and clean up the body. Okay, now for the post, I'm going to use the poly yarn once again. But I don't want to use the whole amount. Probably about a quarter. All right. Now for the body, I'm going to use this cinnamon. And a dark dun color.
Cinnamon
Dark dun. So this color, cinnamon. Atoms have, they've got the gray body, and then the grizzly and brown hackle typically. But instead of hackle, we're using the CDC. So that's the dark dun. And then both of them together. So I'm holding these by the back of the stem. And then to put them in the table clip, they go the thick end of the stem first. So I've got it in the clip like this. And then I'm going to remove the end pieces. Like this. And then I'm going to come up and clip those fibers together, and then release the bottom clip. So I've got everything lined up. And then I'm going to remove the stems. Now I'm just going to set that aside, and what I'm going to do is flatten out my thread, and I do that by giving it a counterclockwise turn. And then I'm just going to come through with my nail and finger and kind of and make sure that thread's flat so I can split it. So I've got the thread split. And now I'm just going to introduce those feathers into the thread. And you can see I put the clip in past where the thread ends. And then I'm just going to pull the clip out until I get to where I want to release it. And then I'm just going to release. So I've got everything in there, and I'm pinching the thread so it doesn't untwist or fall out on me. And then I'm going to cord up the thread again by giving it a clockwise turn. And then release it. And then I'm going to pinch the thread again and bring some more slack, and then I'm going to cord it just a little bit more, and then release. And then I'm going to pinch down here at the end of my bobbin and bring everything up. And I'm pinching the thread right there at the base of the CDC. And then I'm going to bring my bobbin up to my fingers and then give my bobbin a 90-degree turn. And I'm maintaining tension on that. And what that did was I released the thread turns from this side of the bobbin, but I maintained the thread turns and tension up here. So now I'm just going to wrap until my CDC starts where I want it to. And I'm going to come a couple of turns behind, and then a couple of turns in front, one more behind, one more in front, and then wrap up to the hook eye. And then I'm going to bring those fibers back to expose the hook eye. And then whip finish. I usually do too.
So you can use this same pattern for PMDs for anything?
Yeah, basically whatever color, whatever you're trying to imitate. So now what I do is I hold the post straight up, and then I'm going to come down with my thumb and finger and kind of pinch all those fibers flat. I'm going to pinch and pull to the side. So what I'm trying to do is create a nice flat profile, almost like a parachute. And like I said, I'm holding the wing just so I don't, I'm not pulling those fibers down along with the CDC. And then I'm going to kind of turn it so I'm looking straight down on it, and any really long fibers I'm just going to pinch those off, or you can get out your scissors and cut them off too if you want. But I like the look of pinched fibers instead of cut. And now I'm going to take my scissors and go underneath and clip everything completely flat on the bottom. Now I clip the wing as the very last step, and I kind of come up at a sharp angle and then curve back, just like a real mayfly wing. All right. Adam's Comparachute.